My new roadmaster has been making the strangest noise lately. The noise seems to be coming from under the hood.
What kind of noise? What does it sound like?
Well, it sounds like a clicking or a grinding noise.
How often does this happen?
Well, after I start the car, it seems to happen within the first 30 seconds of driving.
About how fast would you say you're going when this happens?
I couldn't be going more than 9, 10 miles an hour.
Okay, let me get this straight. This clicking or grinding noise occurs after you start the vehicle and begin to travel 9 or 10 miles per hour?
Yep, that's right.
I think the condition that you've explained to me sounds like it could be an ABS initialization. You see, the system goes through a sort of self-check every time you start the car and you begin to drive. This way it knows that all of its components are functioning properly. I think you may be hearing the pump coming on and maybe some of the solenoid cycling. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we drive another Roadmaster and we'll see if it makes the same sound.
Okay.
Occasionally, owners may have concerns regarding the firmness or softness of the Dyna-Ride suspension that is standard on Buicks, except those with the Grand Touring package. Some may also comment that the suspension bottoms out under certain conditions. Dyna-Ride represents a combination of Buick philosophy and technology. The philosophy is to provide Buick owners with ride smoothness and excellent road isolation without sacrificing good handling characteristics. For those who prefer the firmer, more precise feel that's often associated with the finest European cars, Buick offers a Grand Touring suspension option. Customers who are familiar with Dyna-Ride may find Grand Touring suspension too stiff for their liking. You should advise them of the difference. Anytime an owner has a ride concern that could indicate a potential suspension problem, it's always a wise precaution to have a technician inspect underbody components. For example, if the concern is bottoming out, trim heights should also be measured and struts and springs should be checked for damage. If the vehicle is equipped with electronic level control, the system should be checked for proper operation. If all suspension components check out okay, explain to the owner that occasional bottoming may occur when the car is driven over large potholes or bumps, such as driveway aprons or railroad tracks, especially if the car is fully loaded. Our next concern is Riviera battery placement.
The other day, I was showing the Riv off to my friend Bob. That's my golfing buddy. We opened the hood to look at the motor, and right away he spotted that there was no battery under there. I told him it was under the back seat, and he says if I ever need a jump start, I'm in big trouble. Oh, is that right? Been sort of bothering me ever since.
You needn't worry. The Riviera can be jump-started just as easily as any other car. Let me show you how. Right here under this cover is a remote battery positive terminal. To jump-start it, you'd attach your positive jumper cable here.
What about the black cable? Where does that go?
Well, the negative cable you would attach to any good ground, like this engine bracket.
Well, that seems easy enough.
It is. And you might want to tell your friend Bob that having your battery inside the car actually gives you some advantages.
Oh, really?
Really. For a start, your battery is larger than normal, so it has more reserve power, and that means you're probably less likely to need a jump start in the first place. And because it isn't exposed to the extremely high engine temperatures that build up under the hood, your battery life is greatly extended. The placement of the battery near the center of the Riviera improves weight distribution, and it even pleases insurance companies.
How is that?
Underhood batteries that are damaged in front-end collisions typically leak acid that destroys other components in the engine compartment. And last but certainly not least, having this remote positive terminal in the engine compartment allows you to jump-start the car without the danger of sparks igniting hydrogen fumes from the battery.
Well, I sure feel a lot better now, and I can't wait to tell Bob. There's just a couple of other little things. I was wondering how often I should change the oil in my supercharger.
Well, the owner's manual recommends that you check the supercharger oil level every 30,000 miles or 36 months, whichever comes first. But in all honesty, unless you're technically qualified and have the proper tools, you'd be advised to have a mechanic check it for you. That's because when the oil fill plug is removed, there's a risk of contamination from debris that may have gathered on the engine. Also, if the oil fill plug is removed while the engine is hot, accumulated pressure could cause hot oil to blow out of the fill hole.
Oh, wow.
Now, the supercharger is basically a sealed unit. The oil always stays inside, so it isn't contaminated or diluted by combustion gases like engine oil is. So you really don't need to check it very often. I'll tell you what, why don't we have one of our technicians check the oil level for you while you're here, just to be sure that it's okay. Then you won't have to worry about it again for a while.
Well, that would be great.
The design of the Riviera deck lid and hinge system is different from other Buicks. The intent was to achieve sleek aerodynamic styling while providing the trunk capacity an owner might expect from the largest coupe currently in production. The deck lid is large, and this, coupled with the hinge design, meant a little more lifting effort is required to initially open it compared to other Buick models that have torsion bar assist. If an owner comments on this extra effort, explain that the Riviera designers felt that the extra cargo room afforded by a hinge system that doesn't intrude into the storage area outweighs the small degree of extra effort required. To hold open a lid this size, the hinge tubes would have to be very large. As it is, once the lid is lifted approximately 6 inches, the geometry of the system takes over and provides assistance the rest of the way.
Sometimes the buttons on my radio and my CDs feel hot to touch. Could this heat damage my CDs?
Now, higher internal temperatures are a natural result of the new high-output compact design of the newer Buick family of radios. Now, these high-intensity readout displays also contribute to the greater heat. It's not unusual for the internal temperature of the radio to reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit. And while your CDs may feel hot, heat isn't high enough to damage them or burn your skin.
Sometimes an owner may comment that the wipers do not clean the windshield properly. Wiper chatter is the inability of the wiper blade to maintain full contact with the windshield during the full up and down sweep of the wiper arm. The 3 most likely causes of wiper chatter are A, the windshield is not clean, B, the wiper blades are not clean, or C, the blade angle is incorrect. Even though the car may have just recently gone through a car wash, the windshield and the wiper blades may be contaminated by wax buildup. So, the first thing to do when this condition is reported is to thoroughly clean the windshield and wiper blades with undiluted windshield washer fluid to remove buildup, dirt, or wax deposits. If a wiper blade still doesn't fully contact the windshield when both the glass and blades are clean, a technician should check the blade angle. With the wiper arm raised to the middle of the wipe stroke, remove the blade assembly. Check that the blade assembly attaching pin on the wiper arm is parallel to the windshield. Replace the wiper arm assembly if necessary. Also, check that the wiper blade rubber element that contacts the glass is on the center line of the blade assembly. You'll find more information on wiper adjustment in the reference manual with this program. The element should not be more than 15 degrees off-center. Replace the element if it is.
Now, just one last thing. There's a little mark on a section of my leather seats. Now, to tell you the truth, it doesn't bother me, but my wife is afraid that the leather may be imperfect. Is that possible?
All Buick leather seats are covered with top grain hide, the outer skin of the cow, and the most durable type of leather available. The top grain is virtually the outer skin of the animal, and it's not unusual to find small marks on finished leather that are caused by minor injuries, such as fence cuts or insect bites. The leather selected for Buick seat upholsteries must meet strict standards regarding its condition. Marks must be small, and they must be completely healed or closed. I can assure you that these small marks in no way compromise the quality or the durability of the material. In fact, the leather at a small healed scar is usually more durable than the leather around it. You may have noticed the labels describing this on top quality leather clothing. Why don't you have your wife call me and I'll explain all of this to her?
Oh, would you please? She might think that I didn't really ask you about it.
Of course, I'd be happy to do that.
Well, I'll tell you, young lady, you have really made my day.
Well, that's all the examples we have time for in this program. Let's summarize the basic steps for avoiding instant comebacks. First, listen carefully and sympathetically to the customer's concern. Ask questions to ensure you fully understand the exact nature of the complaint. If the customer indicates there could be a problem that could be repaired, a technician should examine the vehicle. If the complaint is determined to be a condition for which no repair is possible, explain the situation and make suggestions how the condition might be relieved. You'll find all of the examples we've looked at and a few more explained in the Buick Know-How Reference Manual. The manual also contains some facts to consider when owners have questions regarding fuel economy and oil consumption. I hope you'll find all of this information useful for keeping your customers happy. Till next time, take care.